Marriage is this plane of light. In other words, living on the earth, under the stars. I consider it a manifestation of the Godhead. And I want to enjoy its sublime and, awesome, majestic beauty.
Well, we were talking about how I had mentioned that the Buddhists consider this precious body, this precious hard-won body. And you had some things to say about that I thought were interesting.
Well, I thought you had some things to say that were very interesting about it. And I just agreed with you.
Well, thank you. What else? Now, keep waxing.
Well, what did you say?
It's wonderful to hear you speak.
About it. Didn't you refer it to a child or an infant, having an early death?
Well, what I was talking about, what I thought was the real tragedy that we feel at the early death of anyone is that it was such an arduous journey to get here. That, that tiny spark of life that attempts to swim and nestle and grow and has gone through that whole journey of birth. And I myself do believe with others that we make commitments before we're born about the reason for our life, what we want to accomplish, why we're coming. And when all of that is cut short, of course, then we're unable to accomplish any of those things. That's what I thought.
Yeah, it's, being nipped in the bud is a sad thing.
Well, I think it's difficult to evolve in this primitive life form that we find ourselves in.
I think that's true. It's very simian, isn't it?
So when you say simian, what?
Ape-like.
And what was it you said about the apes?
Well, I don't know about the apes, but I said human beings basically look like glorified apes. That might take the sales out of some of the Barbie dolls who stroll the streets of Santa Barbara.
I'd like to make some sense out of this life I'm living and the extinction of this life too. I'd like to make some sense out of all of it. But let me see, I heard somewhere the thing about trying to understand life is like being in a colony of ants on an anthill, and a herd of elephants comes charging through, and a little ant looks up at the coming legs of the chargers and tries to ascertain what manner of thing is happening. And I feel like that's the position that I'm in when I'm trying to understand what this life is about.
Well, that's okay, because, you should be concerned with your life, which is human. Being concerned with with life for you is being concerned with human life, ultimately. And if it wasn't, you wouldn't be, you'd miss the boat totally.
Well, why wouldn't I be concerned with it, since it is my life?
I'm saying that's what you should be, is concerned with your own life, which is human. So the life of human being is the life that, you should ultimately be concerned with. Because that's the life that you live intimately.
Well, I was in a little play once that folded after the first performance, and was one of Tennessee Williams' lesser-known plays, Period of Adjustment, or High Point on a Low Cavern. It was at a little theater, but one of the 3 questions that he asked in it is, Why was I born? What am I doing here? And where, oh, where am I going?
Mm-hmm. That parallels the Catholic Catechism. Kids are taught that in Catholic school. Well, at least they used to be.
How does it parallel the
Well,
catechism?
because they said they in the Catechism they said why, they told you that there were answers to those questions. The Catholic Church had the answers. God made you. Why were you here? You were here to love God. Where were you going? You were either going to hell, purgatory, or heaven. Those were their answers.
Well, that made it all kind of nice and pat. You didn't have to wonder anymore, did you?
That's very true, unless you didn't believe it.
I see.
If you didn't believe it, you wondered.
So, when did you begin to wonder?
I think I really didn't start to really contemplate life deeply until I was probably maybe 20 years old. How about yourself?
Well, for me, I think it happened, early, from the suicide of a beloved uncle. I began to wonder.
So funny. It's cold out.
Here we are again.
It's freezing out there, you know that? Oh, you know how cold it was in Bishop the other night?
No.
15 degrees. That is frigid.
Oh my God, Bishop.
Somebody told me that. I can't remember who.
15 in the winter
Angus told me that.
and 100 and something in the summer. I love hot cocoa. I can hear the wind way in the distance in the belly of the sea.
I was thinking the other night that it's important to realize that we're one with nature. And in being one with nature, we're grounded in great power. Just imagine the power of the wind. We breathe it. It's the same air that the wind, is made of. The heat within our body is the same heat as, any of the energy of the universe. We're grounded in infinite power. That's a very reassuring thought to me.
I came across something, I don't know where, but it had to do with if the full power of our souls were put in the body, it would completely blow up the body.
Yeah.
The energy is so great.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think, the truly wondrous thing is although we're grounded in the infinite power, it's modulated to such a degree that we don't blow up. It's fine-tuned. Can you imagine? It takes infinite power to fine-tune it that way, in my opinion. So in my opinion, the source and sustenance of our being has its hand on the dial in such a soft, tender way.
Oh my, that's
The dial of infinite power.
a wonderful thought.
That's not. Don't you feel that when you look up at the sky that it goes on forever? Ad infinitum? What would an end be? A wall?
Well, you see,
It's truly an end is inconceivable when you look up at the sky. I just don't understand people who actually believe it's finite.
but everything in my life has a beginning, seems to have a middle, and has an end. Everything. There's the beginning of babyhood, beginning of childhood, the end of it.
Well, you know what doesn't have an end?
What?
You're being here right now, in the now, in the here and now, in the now. You're being here right now. It doesn't have an end. You're always in the now. When you think of the past, you can only think of the past in the now. When you remember something, you're remembering it in the now. And when you project into the future, you project into the future in the now. You're always in the now. And you've never experienced an end to the now. And you don't know what death is going to be, so you can't claim that, you can't prove that death will end the now. You'll find out.
Well, that's a seductive thought.
What did you think